Alright, so we're gonna be over a guide. I'm gonna real quickly turn this down so that way it's not like echoing or anything like that. And yeah, so basically this is the first boss, Prima Donna, and she's pretty easy. All you have to do is like back up for this first part, and then I finished her off with a little pistol and then punched her. But this is gonna be the like Supersleuth in-depth and the guide on how to beat each boss, so that's gonna be pretty important. And yeah, this one's pretty easy, nothing much to it. You just finish her off like that and that's it pretty much. Okay, so this is the next boss, and this is the whatchamacallit version 1 or Robo Betty or whatever. And this boss isn't too bad, but like you have to be really careful because in this first phase she shoots her rays. So this is phase 1, and you can just use the shotgun and go back and forth. Now in this phase she shoots out a ray, but you have these shields in the proximity that you can go behind. But you need to know that as you strafe around these lasers and she goes through on and off those phases, the shields will become less and less. And there's actually a pattern of those shields that pops up in the corners. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. So when she goes through this next phase, you'll see me run towards one of the shields that I've memorized, and that's because a shield on each side of the 4 sides disappears after each phase. You'll see what I'm talking about. So give it a second. And as you can see, it's starting to get into that next phase. I'm just kind of taking it down with my shotgun, hitting it with my micer, and here we go. So as you can see, I had to run towards this wall because the other one has disappeared, and now there's only 3. And then you shoot it again, dodge the lasers. It'll do this one more time, I think, and then you get behind the wall. So as you can see now, I'm taking my devarnisher to it. That one helps a lot on like most of the bosses. You just have to have ammo for it, you know. And then like at this point, I'm just trying to dodge, trying not to get hit too much. You really have to be careful of those lasers. Jumping over them and dashing is like a really good strat. And as you can see, I'm about to break it. And this is where it hits us with the other phase. And as you can see, there's only one window I had to run to because all the other 3 have disappeared. And that's how you beat that one. Okay, so this next boss is Robo Betty 2, or the whatchamacallit version 2, whatever you want to call it. And as you can see, it's not too bad. You just need to strafe backwards and run backwards. And then I'm hitting it with my devarnisher. You need to be careful of those mines on the floor. They will blow up and damage you. So you really just want to run away. I could easily beat this boss with the shotgun and the devarnisher, just backing up and not getting too close. You don't want to get hit by her hands, and you don't want to get by the bombs. Again, making sure to dash left, right, and back, and then also reloading is pretty important to do pretty quick. Other than that, this boss is pretty easy, and I beat it pretty quickly after the first one. So yeah. Alright, so this next one, if I remember, was like a bit more challenging. As you can see me rage there. This is the Robo Betty 3, or whatchamacallit version 3. And she, similar to the first one, but has way more advanced lasers. As you can see, she's now shooting 4 out of her and spinning them. And then she also runs towards you and shoots out these little bomb guys that run towards you. So she's got a mix of the first and the second one, but the bombs run towards you, and she's got an advanced laser cycle that you really need to watch out for and be careful for. As you can see, I'm just running in between them. My best advice is to, yeah, just stay in between the very center of the laser so that way you don't get hit by them, of course. Another thing that I've been starting to do during this point of the game is search around for like heals and for shields. I didn't know shields were a thing at first, and so if you start using them early, you'll save a lot of time. You can find shields, they look kind of like a helmet or they look like a chest plate, and you can kind of just find them similar how you find ammo or you find health. And then, yeah, as you can see, I'm just kind of shooting her off. She kind of goes through this bomb phase over and over again. She also does this ray tracking phase right here, which is really annoying and you have to be careful for. As you can see, I'm kind of preserving the health because of that. But then, yeah, just going around and dodging her. She's gonna kind of run at you and keep doing the same thing over and over again. But you just need to make sure that you're constantly backing up, kind of like the other versions of her, because they're pretty similar. At this point, I'm just like shooting around, and she starts doing this more advanced phase where she not only spins the lasers but moves them up and down. And I'm assuming you're supposed to crouch and go down to dodge them, but I kind of just fluked it and, you know, tried to run around it. And yeah, I really just finished her off by exploding the bombs around her and trying to shoot her. So it definitely was a hard fight, but it was worth it, and that's kind of most of the advice I could give towards this point in the game. So yeah. Alright, so the next boss is Vic Gator. He's like this alligator guy that you fight down in the sewer, and it's pretty fun. So your arena and your map is these crates that you're supposed to navigate in between and walk towards, like corridors, which on the walls have health. There's some shields around, and you really just want to like get behind the corners of the crates when he goes into a shooting phase. This boss is pretty easy. He locks into his shooting phase and he cannot move when he is. So you can go behind him, you can go on the side of him, you can, heck, even be in front of him a little bit. As long as you're not getting hit by his shots, you should be fine. Well, there were some parts that gave me trouble, but I am gonna like skip some of this boss fight because most of it literally is just this. But in the end, you will see what I'm talking about because he has a second phase of alligators. Alright, so I'm kind of been doing the same thing over and over at this point. Ignore the cam glitching at the top. But the only difference is I'm having to speed around and move around a little bit because he's releasing alligators, as you can see right there. He's releasing these like shark alligators or dead alligators and these skeleton things, and they start to kind of bite at you. So you need to make sure you're saving the health and the shield around you. But other than that, just keep doing the same thing over and over the whole match, and he's a pretty easy fight, honestly. Okay, so this next boss fight is the crooked officer. He's kind of like the cop guy that we thought was good or was working with us, but he's not actually. He's like a fake cop, whatever. And so we're basically trying to kill him. There's all of these like mouse that spawn like normal enemies, excuse me. But your main goal is to try and find these cannonballs around the map that you can blow up the walls with. And I struggled with this for like the first 10 minutes of playing it. But you just go around these different locations in the map, like this upstairs area that has some cannonballs that you can put into your inventory, and then you can shoot the wall with the gun that you get unlocked anyways. It's a pretty easy fight. You just do this over and over. I don't even think I have to really skip much of it because it wasn't too hard. But the next cannonball area is like over here by this wall that I'm at, after I defeat these enemies, of course. And so really, yeah, you want to like come up here, find a way to get up here. So just kind of take these guys out. You have to be careful. They're just normal enemies, but they have shields. They're annoying. There's also some cannonballs right here on this box. Like, I didn't notice that the first playthrough. I think I wasted those cannons. But yeah, you just kind of look around the map and you'll find them. After I get through these enemies, you'll see that I find an area that has a lot more cannonballs. And there we go. They also just respawned right there. And there's also some over on this side right here on the other side. So yeah, you just take those, load them into your inventory. As you can see now I have them, and then I just shoot the wall with them and we break it to defeat. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so this next boss is the Mad Cultist. It's pretty easy boss. The only thing you have to do is shoot its projectiles. So he throws these bombs at you. You just need to stand in front of his face directly and shoot the projectiles. That's it. If you move around him, you're probably gonna get killed. So just shoot the bombs back at him. It's an easy dub. That's literally it. Alright, so this next boss fight is, like, I think it's MacGuffin or something. I'm not exactly sure about that. I'll have to check. Yeah, it's like Mice MacGuffin McLeod or something is his name. But anyways, he rides around on this boat, and your arena, your map is these little floating island, wooden things that you're supposed to jump on. And he shoots at you during it, and he has this super hard phase where these enemies spawn out of the top that fly. I died here for like 40 minutes, dude. It was really rough. It's hard to give suggestions, but just be super sparing with your heals. Don't touch the water because that kills you. You need to make sure you're jumping on those platforms like way better than I can. And then you really just want to make sure you're shooting the enemies with the Tommy gun and the Devarnisher, the ones in the sky. It was really hard for me to get past. I finally ended up, shooting the boat fast enough. But just pay attention to the enemies in the sky during the bell. They're really difficult, but once you get past it, it feels pretty rewarding. So yeah. Alright, so this next boss fight is the third wife. She's not the hardest, but there is this super hard wave of skeletal enemies. I'm using the Devarnisher to hurt them, and then you use your flashlight to hurt her. So you don't shoot at her, which I was doing for a while. And she has these mirages and these fake cloned versions of her that she will put around the map, as well as some shields that she has. So you need to take that into account. Make sure you're running, grabbing your heals, and you can finish off the skeletal hordes with the Devarnisher and with some other guns by hoarding them up and standing on the top of the stairwell like I am. And you really just want to do that back and forth, back and forth. This boss does have a couple phases, but yeah, you really just want to hit her with the flashlight like this. As you can see, that was like a mirage of her, so it disappears. But when you do hit the real one, you'll notice it by ticking her health down, and you can visually still see her in the area. That's how you know you're hitting the right one. So you're going to want to keep doing this, and I probably will just go through this boss fight because it was a little tricky. So as you can see, like, I'm using the Devarnisher. I ran out of ammo for it at this point. I'm kind of worried, but I'm using my shotgun. And yeah, she was not the easiest, but you really just gotta kind of run back and forth and use your flashlight as fast as possible to try and go find out where she is. So yeah, at this point I'm running back and forth. And notice you can shoot her shield. So she does have a shield, you have to shoot it, unlike the flashlight. So there's a little bit of those interesting mechanics I didn't want to skip for this fight. But once you learn that and start doing that, then yeah, it's really just a matter of finding her like this, as you can see. Now she does have this weird final phase where she gets larger and she forms this shell around her that I believe we need to shoot. So you want to make sure you have a gun that has ammo for that, and that you're also standing in a decent position that's going to be good enough to fight her. Yeah, just having a little bit of a difficult time finding her, but here she is in the corner. And yeah, it really made me run around for this one. This one was not the fastest boss fight, but I figured I'd go through it with you guys because there's kind of some interesting gameplay going on here that took me a while. So it'll save you guys time if you just trust. And then yeah, there's her final version where she's like way bigger and she starts kind of shooting these projectiles, which you do not want to get hit by. And then you basically, I believe, just shoot at her shield. And I believe that's how you kill her. So you want to have enough ammo for that, but yeah, just go crazy. Go crazy, dodge the projectiles, and just break her shield. And I also remembered there's some enemies spawning, so you kind of want to just watch out for that. But yeah, not too much else to it. You just gotta really have a good aim for this level, and you should be pretty good. And yeah, coming up now, breaking her shield, and bam. And then you just finish her off the way we have been for the rest of the level. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's how you beat her. Alright, so this next boss fight is Captain Sims. He's the betrayal arc of the story for Jack because he's like our friend or whatever, or was supposed to be, and we were supposed to be working on this case together, but he apparently turned his back on us. So that's like the thing. The mechanics of the level are pretty easy, but you need to be careful of the enemies around the map because they are a little bit more difficult at this point in the game. And then the plane flies around shooting bombs at you while you have to click inside of these turrets and aim using the Corsair to try and shoot down the plane that's shooting the bombs at you. So you're basically using turrets to try and shoot him down. And it's not so bad or not so hard because you kind of just wait for the plane to get in the vicinity of your map or the Corsair in the sky. And when he's in range, or when you can see him in the middle or the center, like you're looking at me do, then you just shoot him down like so. But it's a little bit harder than sounds. I died here like 3 or 4 times. Really just grabbing health and shield around the map is going to be your best friend because I was struggling with the enemies in the area at this point, like so many of them spawning. And yeah, just filling up on ammo and checking every single crevice of the map is like an essential at this point of the Supersleuth. Otherwise, it was just too hard to get through anything. But yeah, as you can see, I'm jumping back and forth, trying to shoot him down. And I got him to half health pretty easy, but yeah, these enemies just were not easy. As you can see, I'm at like 50 health, half health, most of the run. I keep drinking these potions, but you're gonna just see my health go down sometimes. It was crazy. It really was crazy. But I'm going to also show the whole fight of this because I want you guys to see how to play through it. So yeah, just dashing back and forth all the time, constantly. It's really the best thing. Do not forget to dash. Dashing is like the big thing in this game mode. And getting health, of course. Yeah, I just kind of struggled. I was shooting him down, but there was just times he was flying around too fast, and it was intense. And yeah, the enemy's just behind me again, as you can see. And yeah, we're starting to get him shot down now. His health's getting lower and lower. But yeah, you're really gonna want to like turn around a lot for this fight. You're gonna want to go to the turrets, then turn around to fight and check behind your back. And as long as you really do that, you should be good. But you just gotta hit him with the turret a few times, and that is how you finish off this boss. So, yep. Okay, this boss is the Hitman. This is the first out of 2 appearances he shows up in as a boss in this game, so you fight him twice, but this is his undeformed form when he's still kind of got his, Hitman secrecy spy thing going on, and he does this weird mechanic where he disappears into these corners every once in a while. Kind of like a magician. It's really weird, and you try to shoot him, but he just moves away. So you really just need to like know the corners he goes in and predict the shots. He shows up in the 4 corners on the pedestals, and then he also has a chance to show up like on stage in front of you or on stage behind you. And those are like the main spots he'll go in. So you kind of know like where to shoot him every time. But as you can see, it's just a matter of like me finding him. And yeah, that's really most of this level. You do need to be careful though, and try to get shields and health on the ground while you're doing this, because he has a sniper that does a lot of damage. So that's kind of why I'm just running around and, twisting back and forth throughout the map. Really just not to get hit. So that's kind of one of the important things. I also just love the Devarnisher through this game because it does that continuous poison damage, or acid or whatever. And it's like, it definitely helps. But at this point, I'm just trying to predict his movements because he's getting so fast. But yeah, he's almost down now at this point, and you really just got to keep shooting him. But it does feel nice once you do finish him off. And yeah, like I said, just predicting the spots, knowing where to shoot, and you will get him. Steve Bandle is one of the easier boss fights coming up in this part of the game. At this point, like, shit's really hard and like an enemy spawn. But he does this weird magic show boss fight, which is really easy to play. It's basically guessing the cards, and he has these series of cards on the ground with different faces on them. And he'll show one on the screen, and you either need to jump on them or avoid them depending on the one he shows on the screen. So like this one, he's flashing the 3-leaf clover, and when he does flash the 3-leaf clover, they are the only ones that are left. So you have to stand on the card he flicks up. It's pretty easy. There's nothing else much to it. You just need to be able to do basic parkour. Anyone who's played Minecraft at all can do this easy. There's no projectiles, no shots. There should have been. I think it would have made a pretty interesting boss fight if there was some projectiles, or if it was a little bit harder. But it was a nice break and a breather for Supersleuth. So yeah, I kind of just went through this, and you don't even really beat him. You just, get information out of him. But he does end up being sort of a traitor, so he does count as a boss fight. But yeah, that is how you finish off Steve Bandle, and that's pretty much it for that. This next boss fight is a little bit lengthy, so I'm going to try my best to explain all of the mechanics and everything going on here. So basically you spawn in the Professor's laboratory. This is the Professor's submarine laboratory. And there's all of these robots around that do massive amounts of damage you need to be careful with. You can, defeat them with barrels, and you can also use health and shield. But I died to them a lot, so you need to be careful. On top of that, there's all of these turrets around the fucking map shooting you in the face. And you need to basically either shoot them or break them. And they're super annoying, so you really want to go for those first if you can. So going for the enemies and the turrets is the first thing. As you can see, I'm trying to shoot them down here. And then added on top of that, there's like these fucking gas canisters all over the map that you can follow using the wires and the black stuff on the ground. But I just kept having such a hard time finding them. Like, it took me super long to find the one. So I might skip parts of this, but as you can see, I'm finding them right here, shooting them. And yeah, this is most of what this boss fight is going around either shooting the enemies, the turrets, or those gas canisters. So those are the things you want to look out for on top of dodging and then finding health, which made this boss fight super cool, pretty rewarding, and also one of the hardest, in my opinion, in the entire game. So here goes nothing. So yeah, again, another room that I've entered, and I died a lot of times here, as you can see. But yeah, so I died a bunch, but it's these turrets right here and these gas canisters you need to break. It was just a pain to get through them. I did end up, as you can see, but it's kind of hard to make a guide on this one. You really just have to run around and try not to get shot. And like I said, breaking the turrets first thing is first, and then it will open and unlock those gas canisters. Now you need to pay attention at this part because it took me way longer than it needed, but you need to follow those black cords. They show you where all of the canisters are, and there's a room upstairs there that I'm talking about that the last canister is in. So I will kind of show you where they are. So let me just shoot down these turrets real quick. So as you can see, it shows where they are. The first canister is right here, bam. And then the other one is going to be well, there's a turret right there, but there's a canister right there. You really just want to follow those black wires. They'll show you what room. There's another one in this room. As you can see, I just followed it into here. There's this one in this upstairs area right over here. And there's another one in one of these rooms up here too. And as you can see, I just passed up, but there's this other one in this room over here. These enemies obviously spawning, but I went back into this room to check, and sure enough, if you follow the wires, there is the canister that you need to get. So yeah, not too bad. Just took me so long to find that out. And then yeah, you basically just kill all of the enemies in the area and progress to the next stage. So at this point, we kind of just do this again. There's all of the turrets and these locked canisters, and yeah, you really just follow this same mechanic until you go past and unlock this part. It's really not the worst, but this is kind of like the big boss fight, so you have to go up and counter him, and then this section will unlock, and you're really just doing the same thing you were before. Just trying to make sure to get the turrets, again, like I said, and also keep up on your health. It's also good, like I said, to follow those black tubes and pipes on the ground that lead to the canisters, as they'll help you find them way more easier. It took me like a long time to do it. Could have done it easier, but yeah, just really, you got this. So yeah, here's my run where I completed this. As you can see, I'm just taking out the turrets, trying to watch for enemies, getting the turrets in the corner. using the Tommy gun for that. And getting another turret. And yeah, there's also these turrets in the back corner. So it's really not the easiest, but once you do unlock it, you can start breaking those gas canister things. There's one right here, one right here. And then there's also these turrets on the ground and these more gas canisters. So yeah, it's not too bad, but once you do break all of it, like so, as you can see me doing right here, go up and break them. There's also this one in the back corner as well. Oh, and this one. And yeah. And there's also one up here. Right over here. Somewhere. Oh yeah, and then he chases you with a knife like a psycho. It's super fucking scary. You need to watch out. Make sure you have health and just back up and strafe. A Fallout style, and that's how you beat him, yeah. So this next boss fight is the second henchman after we shot him in the face. As you can see, he's kind of like all messed up and twacked out. But anyways, it's kind of the same mechanics. He does his disappear act, but inside of on top of these pipes instead. So it's really like the same fight, and you just shoot him, find out where to shoot, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. There's not much else to say. I can honestly kind of just skip some of it, but it's pretty easy. And then with the Devarnisher, it just does even more continuous damage, so that just helped me take him out really fast. I just started whacking him with the Devarnisher, and we killed him pretty quick. So yeah, that's how I beat the henchman twice. This next boss is the Judge, and there is these waves of enemies on the ground, but you kind of just want to dodge them, get them out of your way, and then ignore them to an extent, because the main boss is the Judge herself, and I didn't notice this for a long time. So you just shoot at her. As you can see, I'm using the Tommy gun, but you can use that, the Devarnisher, anything that really gets damage and the job done. But it took me a while to figure out that she was what I was focusing on, and not the crowds of enemies spawning over and over. So make sure you don't fall for that like I did, and you can pretty much beat this easy on Supersleuth. As you can see, I'm using the Hellraiser thing to get them out of the way, the Doom weapon. But other than that, kind of just, you know, going at her, throwing bombs at her, all of that stuff. So kind of just try to take her out, and you should be pretty good. And yeah, that's how I beat the Judge on my Supersleuth run. Apparently also this gun that's meant for like these old school types, like this weird confusion gun, does a lot of damage on it for some reason. So maybe try using that, and yeah, you'll pretty much get a good dub. This next boss fight is the Beast, called Beast Fatale, but he's kind of just like from Beauty and the Beast, just like a play skit. It's like two people dressed up in a costume acting as a beast, and it's really just a melee that goes around disappearing over and over, and will charge at you every once in a while. It's kind of like a buffed version of Prima Donna, and you really just want to run over and around over and over. I used the Devarnisher, got the job done pretty quick, as you can see. Also using the shotgun and then just dodging. And there's also some heals and some shields that you want to pay attention to, as always. So that's how I beat it on Supersleuth. Okay, this boss took me forever. This is the first boss in color, and it's Sir Reginald or whatever. And this was just so hard for me. I don't know why. There's just so many enemies that spawn. You run out of shields, you run out of ammo. My best advice is dodging his shots, dodging all of the enemies the best you can on the ground, and scavenging and being so resourceful with your health and your shield. You seriously have to narrow it down to trying not to getting hit, you know, trying to get health, because these bombs and these enemies just fly around fucking everywhere. It was so difficult to get him, but eventually I did. You just got to be really, really careful. This one was tricky. At this point, I've been doing the same thing over and over, just dodging his shots, going back and forth, trying not to get hit, grabbing health like over and over. That's really all I was doing, and that's why I skipped some of this boss fight, because it was super hard. But that's my best advice, is just this one was the hardest for me, the hardest boss fight. Just try not to get hit. It's super brutal on this game mode. Not as forgiving as the other levels. And these bombs, bro, as you can see, I'm just flying around. It was just insane, as well as the enemies on top of that, stacked with the main boss doing some damage to you. Lots of obstacles going on here, but I was able to pull through. And if you use the Tommy gun, and you can use the Devarnisher sparingly like I am here, I think you can get through it too. And yeah, really just, you know, dodging the fire, getting the shields, getting the health. And as you can see at the end, these big guys, it was just tough. So it was definitely an interesting fight. There's also like a surprise second phase. So after you beat this guy from this normal phase, which you'll see me do in a second, he goes into a phase where you have to box him, which is actually pretty cool and pretty epic that you get to fight him melee. But as you can see, you defeat him here, and you cannot die at this melee part. I actually got to the end and then died, and it makes you restart the whole fight. It doesn't even save here. It's just so brutal. I mean, I'm sure now that the game's updated, there might be a save or might be some sort of thing because of the new menu, but it was just rough on my first play, and it was really fun to do that on Supersleuth and on PC. So at this end, make sure you lock in and don't fucking die like I did the first time, and then you should have a dub. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. And then the very last boss fight in the game is Sawyer himself. So this is where it gets pretty interesting and pretty fun. He has these weird rays on the ceiling that shoot out these confusion projectiles out of this weird speaker, this weird microphone thing. You need to shoot those down and take them down. And there's going to be a lot of them in this inner wall of the map. And then Sawyer goes through these on and off phases of these lasers that you need to dodge by either crouching, jumping, going left and right, or swinging up on the ropes ahead of you, which you'll see in a second. So it's a little bit trickier than some of the other boss fights. Kind of say this was like the same difficulty as the previous boss fight in terms of how long it took me and just like trying to get it. But yeah, this part's not too bad, but just make sure you dodge the lasers. And they progressively get harder. Like you'll have to crouch, and when the lasers are too tall for you to crouch or to jump over, then you have to swing over them with the rope. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on here. It was really crazy. And like this one, you can get through here by jumping, but the other one, like this, I had to try and swing over. Or this next one, this one I had to swing over like so. So you can swing over some of the rays, so that really helped me. And yeah, you just go through this phase on and off. You have to jump up here, dodge some of them, crouch for some. It was just really intense. So you gotta be parkour mastering here. These rays were also hard. They go and track to you, and they follow you around, and they have these weird patterns where they go in and out and back and forth off of the ceiling facing down towards you, and it was just craziness. So I really had to watch out for that too. But yeah, at this point, you know, I'm still destroying these microphones, just trying to break everything and get him killed. We go through another phase of these weird things where, like this one, for example, I had to crouch instead of jump. Another one where you have to crouch. So it's kind of like just switches it up on you and gets a little tricky. Then you have these lasers that spin back and forth at an angle, projecting downwards onto you in these weird patterns on the wall and these weird linear shapes. It's just super interesting and kind of something you have to watch out for. So just flying around everywhere. This part even was hard. You have to like crouch and then jump. It does these weird things to trick you. So really just watching out for that. And then this last phase of lasers where they spin around like a pizza on the fucking ground. Oh my goodness, dude. Just intense. And yeah, jumping over them is going to be something you're going to want to do a lot, and moving back and forth. Like as you can see, I'm moving left and right and jumping at the same time. So I kind of am using my mouse and my keyboard to be a lot more slick and, you know, move fast in these areas. As you can see here, I'm moving back and forth, crouching, jumping. So a lot of mechanics going on that you have to kind of get down. So don't feel bad if you know, die a few times like I did. But yeah, you just have to get through this, keep going through these lasers. It's an intense long laser phase, and then you get through the last, very last phase of Sawyer, which is fighting him in an arena and fighting his bodyguard. So yeah, it's super cool. And as you can see, this part is just insanely hard. You just have to follow it. Don't run through it like I did. Just follow it to the end. I don't know why I did that. And yeah, he's getting mad at me at this point. Okay, so yeah, he's going to his next phase. Now, the kind of cool part about this fight and this boss, particularly this part, is that it gives you a chili pepper and a fire pepper for the entire run of the boss fight, which helps a lot. Oh my gosh. This would actually be pretty much real super hard run of Supersleuth if there was no pepper. So I thought it'd be cool if there was a one life mode that had no map or no trail to follow. Very interesting concept. It'd be really hard though. But then yeah, you just beat the bodyguard. You have to go around shooting the guys, but you got that fire, so it's easy. Just laser him with the Tommy gun. It's the best thing to do. As you can see, I did it here pretty quick. And then you get to Sawyer himself as a boss fight, where you have this pretty much same mechanic. You can pick up cheese. There's enemies all over the ground. You have to dodge. But the only difference is there's so many more enemies. Oh my gosh, just watch these waves. It's just like so much. So you have to make sure you're just picking up that cheese and eating it as fast as possible. Like, seriously. Or you will die. But, yeah, I ended up pulling through, beating him right here with the Tommy gun on this other run. And then we get to Milford Sawyer, where you have to pick up cheese and just dodge. So yeah. So the only things I really need to say and mention for this is hitting the enemies with the chili pepper and your ammo, because you have infinite ammo in this part, thank goodness. So that's the cool side. And you just need to make sure you're shooting the enemies more so than the boss here on Supersleuth, because you need the cheese to heal. Other than that, it takes a little bit long because of it, but you keep pulling through, shoot those enemies. There's going to be so many of them, but just keep shooting them to get cheese, and you will eventually beat Sawyer by just shooting him in between when there's not so many enemies to focus on. So yeah, it was a pretty hard fight, but you can pull through pretty good if you lock in. I'll actually just go through and show this whole fight so you guys can see it. It takes a little bit of a minute, but it's definitely worth it. It's just like 3 more minutes long. There's not too much else to commentate about. The cheese, I think, is your only source of health here, so that's kind of what makes it to where you need to prioritize it. But yeah, just running back and forth, not getting hit, dodging these bombs. Other than that, if you've made it this far and you've been playing for long enough like I have, you will eventually get it regardless of if you die or not. I luckily got past it on my first run. I was lucky enough. But yeah, just kind of observe the way I move back and forth and grab cheese from the corpses of the enemies. Okay, and so we're coming up to where he's getting low on health. At this point, I was just trying to dodge and get more cheese, stay alive, and just kill these guys with the Tommy gun shooting at me, because it ended up getting hard. And his bombs do get progressively bigger and worse, so you need to watch out on the ground and make sure you're jumping a lot, like dashing, jumping, and moving at the same time. But other than that, that pretty much concludes the game if you can get it. And here's me beating Sawyer. So thank you guys so much for watching my Mouse PI for Hire Supersleuth guide, and happy in-game and in-disc sales in stores. So thank y'all so much, and like and subscribe if this helped you, or if you even got this far. And if you did, you're a legend. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all.